I'm a big fan. The first 5 episodes of this show have struck a chord with me.
I usually can predict things, and I didn't. I was wrong. I love being wrong.
If this is a spider from another universe, then this could technically mean that this whole timeline wasn't meant to happen.
Greetings, Palaxians. Today on the bounty board, we've got your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So, kick up that warp drive and let's punch it.
Welcome back to the Guardians of the Palaxy podcast, everybody. I'm so glad that you guys are here. My name's MT, and with me today are my friends Whitney and Tommy. What's going on, gang?
Hi. Oh, man. I am so excited to talk about the new animated Spider-Man. Hell yeah. Yes. How do you guys like it? How do you guys like the show so far? Oh, that's what we're talking about, by the way, today, pals. We're talking spiders. Spider boys.
We're friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I love this show so far. I don't know about you
boys
guys.
Becoming spiders. Spiders becoming men.
Spider-Man bar mitzvah.
That should have been the theme song. Boys becoming spiders. Spiders becoming
men. Goopy webby.
I love this show so much. I am a Spider-Man freak. My mother died researching spiders in the Amazon. So,
oh my God, same. That's so crazy that happened to both of our moms.
She's alive and she makes delicious cookies and she'll never die. She's going to live forever. So perish that thought. But what can't live forever is season 1 of this show. And I just think it is so good. I love the voice casting. I love the characters. I love a young high school age Spider-Man just kind of figuring out his way in this crazy city. I'm a big fan. The first 5 episodes of this show have struck a chord with me.
It's probably a minor. Sorry. I'm so sorry, but that was the best part of watching the Oscars was just every single musician at the Grammys just dunking on Drake. It was that was the best part. Also, MT, I'm so sorry. I realized that my mic was lagging and I totally interrupted you when I had just asked you because I was singing my dumb little song. So please repeat what you were saying for the lovely listeners.
Oh, okay. So I really love this show. Because it really does feel like we're seeing an alternate universe take on, Tom Holland's Spider-Man in a weird way. Because there's a lot of elements that, resemble the MCU. Obviously, it takes place in that same time period when Tony Stark met Tom Holland in Civil War. And yeah, I'm really loving that weird parallel universe feel. And I'm also loving the animation style, which I was sort of on the fence of at first. I was I don't know if you can do this and 3D at the same time. I would rather it completely 2D. But after a while, it just sort of feels like another universe in the overall Sony Spider-Verse, with its own style. And it just feels very comic booky. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I love that because I was also super on the fence about it, especially after the little teaser came out. I love the intro song, by the way.
Right.
That song fucking rules. It is not as good as What's Up Danger, but it's almost as good as What's Up Danger as far as Spider-Man music goes. But yeah, I was also really apprehensive about the animation at first. And I was kind of oh, I don't know if I like the still backgrounds while some people are moving. That kind of looked weird. But once you watch the show for 5 minutes, you're oh, this is genius. This literally feels like I'm reading a comic book, but I'm watching it.
How about you, Tommy? How'd you feel about the animation?
From the get-go, kind of, it appealed to me as a man of simple tastes. A static background with moving foreground characters was right up my alley. I'm a comic book reader. So I enjoyed that. It did feel like a comic book come to life. I also thought that the characters are drawn in a way that sometimes in animation characters can kind of blend together. To me, I feel like the characters are all uniquely drawn on this show. In a way that makes them stand out, except one exception being that in every single group of gangs or ne'er-do-wells, there is a character that's drawn that looks almost exactly like Peter Parker, and he's just this chatty, smiley little white guy that I just kind of adore that he's in the background of all of these gangs. He's just happy to be there. I call him Simon. I'm thinking
Oh, hell yeah.
Simon is in every gang in New York City.
He
He's also
is.
on the police force. He also goes to the high school. He's on the football team, but he's also in the stands.
Oh, absolutely. He's like that kid in high school that just floated to all of
Yes.
the groups. Like he
Yeah.
didn't have one group. He just kind of
Yes.
floats to all. And I love that they all accept that about him. I love that he could have walked into that taco place and gotten great burritos and nobody would have batted an eye.
Simon is a chameleon, but he's not the chameleon as far as we know.
As far as we know.
But no, this show has a really great cast of characters. Of course, we meet Nico on his very first day, who I love. Nico of the Runaways. If you guys, you guys
Yeah.
are,
Yes.
yeah. I freaking love Nico so much in this show.
You know, I'm going to get dunked on here because someone called me out on a Screen Crush video the other day for just being funny and not being knowledgeable. It took me a second to realize that Nico is well, I know the Runaways comic, but like I watched the Hulu show as well. And I was like, oh, I realized she had the pendant around her neck. And I was like, is this the same girl from the Runaways? I was like, oh, yeah. Yes, all right.
I did a similar thing where as soon as she was like, okay, if you don't get that girl, I will. As I was like, oh my God, she's gay. That's amazing. And Brett was like, she's always been gay, Whitney. And I was like, ah, shit, I forgot the Runaways. I watched it so long ago that I forgot. And I have not read the comics. So I'm also a bad lady in that regard.
The Runaway comics are so good.
I should read
good.
them.
Brian K. Vaughan is such a good writer. Highly recommend. For those of you out there that have not read it, it's phenomenal. But yes, it's so cool to see her in the Spider-Man lore, because like that's not originally how she started. But like I really do like, I feel like she was always written as Peter Parker's best friend while watching this show. I'm like, oh yeah, of course. Like Nico and Peter, they're the dynamic duo, of course. I'm like, always from the beginning. Because like it just really just feels believable. And like, you know, I'm wondering where Ned is at. I'm like, where's Ned in this universe? But like, I guess Nico's the new Ned, I guess. Who knows?
Well, weirdly, I kind of think that Harry's almost the new Ned because he's the guy in the chair, you know?
Right, at the desk.
He's the dude at the desk, but like Ned is the guy in the chair. So that's what I felt like. I was like, maybe Harry's the new Ned.
I want to get more into that because one of my favorite things that this show does is introduce Norman Osborn as the guy in the chair for an episode. And I really thought that was a clever way to portray the dynamic between the very complicated, you know, dynamic between Peter Parker and pre-Green Goblin Norman Osborn, right? Like, it's like it makes the relationship that much more heartbreaking when everything comes to fruition, because it's like this is like a father figure to a grieving kid who lost his other father figure, you know? And it's like he comes into his life at a time where he really needs him the most, and then ultimately becomes a person obsessed with killing him. It's like we know where this is heading, but there are so many, and I know we're going to talk about it. There are so many landmines that are being placed out in this show that are, you know, chickens coming home to roost. The least of which is Lonnie Lincoln, who comic book fans know will one day become Tombstone. And by the end of episode 5, we confirm that is this Lonnie Lincoln that we're getting, and a very different origin from the comics. You know, Lonnie Lincoln in the comics is kind of this menacing, heavy character that just kind of loves violence and loves enforcing. He's basically a mafia enforcer, a gang enforcer.
And obviously we all know that in the comics, he named himself Tombstone because he really liked the frozen pizza. Like we all know that. And so it's kind of like weird that they're leaving it out of the show, but like maybe that'll be like revealed later on, you know?
Well, maybe he'll face off against Lady DiGiorno later on.
And then the two of them are going to go up against the Red Baron.
Oh my God.
We just came up with the pizza verse, baby. Let's go. Let's introduce the pizza verse.
Newman's Own. Oh
Newman's Own. Holy shit. California Pizza Kitchen. When did you get here?
Oh my God. What's the bad pizza everyone bought from Costco and BJ's during COVID? Jack's. Jack's was the horrible frozen pizza. You could get like 10 for $10.
The one I used to eat in college was called like Celeste. That one was gross as shit.
Yeah. Mama Celeste.
Yeah, it was so disgusting, but like it was also $1 for like 4 of them or something. So
listen, I've been to rehab. I'm familiar with what a 4 a.m. Mama Celeste purchase looks like.
Absolutely.
I have darkened those doors many a
Absolutely.
7-Eleven. So Lonnie Lincoln, we get a version of Lonnie Lincoln that I don't know if it's been portrayed in the comics. I tried to do a little research. This is a student peer of Peter Parker's who is not only a student peer, is the person who seeks out Peter as a lab partner because he is so drawn to Peter's intelligence and intellect. It's a really like fascinating way to introduce this character that is such a brute force menace in the comics and is such a layered, complicated, kind of tragic figure in this show. He just wants to keep his family safe. And time and time again, he's sacrificing his time and his availability, and then ultimately sacrifices his freedom and becomes, basically a prisoner to this gang in order to save his brother Andre. It's a really poetically tragic and sad and beautiful story about a person's love for their family told through this, this animated show. I think it's a really, really strong, commendable storyline.
That's so beautiful. But you know what would be beautiful is if Peter just pulled a break up with your girlfriend, I'm bored, stopped crushing on her, and he and Lonnie just get together. They were lab partners, Like, I'm just like, why not? Why not? Why doesn't everyone in this show just be gay? Anyways, I'm sorry. MT, what were you going to say?
Why doesn't everybody?
I was going to say the same thing.
Put that on the thumb. Put that on the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Whitney's smiling face and next to Tombstone and Peter Parker, and then in yellow writing, "Everyone gay?
Everyone gay?" Question mark.
I'm clicking. I'm clicking immediately.
And then it's a picture of the girlfriend, and also in yellow font it says, "Does she know?"
Does she know?
Does she know they're kissing? Question mark. But no, like I actually do love this origin for Lonnie a lot more than like what we got in the comics, because like it just feels more personal, and I feel like the best Peter Parker Spider-Man villains are the ones that like are connected to him as a human being. Rather than like just as a superhero. And like Tombstone is no small figure in Spider-Man's life. Like this is going to be like a really major gang boss in New York at the end of the day. And like I'm really curious to see how he actually gets his powers, because right now he's powerless, and like it'll probably have something to do with like Norman, or maybe even Spider-Man himself, because like I have a feeling that Norman is using Spider-Man for sweet blood, because like everyone knows that a Spider-Man story is not complete without a magic blood storyline.
There has to be one, and there has to be at least one shot of the zoom in of all the blood cells being like, but like really fast, like zoom.
Exactly.
Like they have to. That's mandatory for any blood movie. There has
mandatory.
To be. Madam Web, Kraven the Hunter. Kraven's was fun. Madam Web's was really bad.
Yeah.
I think Morbius was pretty bad too. We should, that should be our next video, you guys. Hey, shout out, pals. Let us know in the comments if you would like us to do a video of the best blood transitions.
Yes, blood transitions.
We'll fucking rank that shit.
Guys, can I I've been working on an impression that I'd like to debut now in the middle of this show.
Go for it.
Can I do my impression of the Rhino from Kraven the Hunter?
Yes, you fucking can.
When he gets a bit of bad news. Okay, give me some bad news.
Man, we're all out of Rhino juice.
Yo, he literally sounds like he's constipated or something. I don't know what he's doing in that scene.
I will defend that Rhino looked very cool, and that guy for 80% of that movie did a very good job playing the Rhino, and I liked that he was like an imperfectly physical character before the Rhino serum. I cannot defend that scene. I won't. I value my integrity as a fake internet journalist too much
You won't and you can't, especially because we got to get back to talking about the animated Spider-Man, baby.
All right,
we took a detour that zoomed us through some blood vessels, and we ended up here somehow.
You know what? I have a feeling that the people who are already on board the Palaxy train will not object to it. But I do want to get back to the show.
I agree.
I want to get back to some other characters that we are introduced to in the first few episodes, none the least of which, at the end, I believe, of episode 3 is Otto Octavius, right? Or is it 3 or 4?
Bro.
I think it's 4 because they dropped. Was it that they dropped 3 the first time or 2 the first time and 3 the second?
I think you're right. 4 was no, end of 3 was no, you're right.
We could be wrong. We don't know. We should Google this.
Brett, you're right. It was 4.
Brett is chiming into the chat and he says 4.
He says 4.
He says 4.
Yes. We got the Otto Octavius voiced by Hugh Dancy from Hannibal. For those of you that are Hannibal fans, a British man using American face to voice Dr. Otto Octavius, but that's okay.
How dare?
You know
How
what?
dare?
Because the truth is, I've always been British as well.
Yo, that would be the twist of the century if Tommy just came out as British. That'd be hilarious.
Perhaps it's time for me to drop the ruse. I've always considered myself a bit of a chameleon. Anyway.
That's why we've never met his mom and dad, because he secretly calls them Mom and Pop.
That's right.
And so that's why we can't meet them.
Not Mom and Dad, like any other good Rochester.
Like how he says it to us when he's talking to us, but when he's talking to them, Mom, Mommy,
hello, Mom.
Mommy, can I go to the garden? I'd love to sit outside.
I would like to play croquet in the garden today.
In the gardens, please.
Please, Mummy. My shorts are too tight. I can't feel my John Williger.
Where's my owl from Dumbledore?
Mummy, what do I do if I'm a Slytherin?
Were we supposed to refocus on the podcast?
Yeah, were we supposed to? Didn't we just tell ourselves to stop doing this? It's fine.
We did.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. It's all good. Otto Octavius is in the show. I love that we got big. You know, MT and I founded the Big Head Gang a long time ago, and I am glad that we are finally getting a comic book accurate, big noggined Otto Octavius with a whack ass bowl cut haircut and a jaw to match. My God. It's like, you know, the equivalent of a woman's hourglass figure that is so desirable to some men. I like his hourglass head, you know, just frontal lobe, cranial region, massive, cheekbones diverting inward like two angry lesser than symbols and a math equation, and then a jaw that you could just set your rump down on and take a rest.
Dude, like, he looks freaking fantastic. Like, literally straight out of the comic.
Step aside, Alfred Molina. There's a new Doc Ock in town.
There's a new big-faced bastard in town, and his name is Hugh Dancy.
Yeah, those glasses are freaking huge, bro. Those sunglasses, I can't even do it. That's too much.
He's got the Oakleys on like he's about to march on the Capitol. I love it.
Yeah, so I was actually really surprised though, because the little twist I didn't see coming was that I at first thought that it was going to be revealed that it was pre-proto Green Goblin tech from Norman Osborn. So when all the heroes were like suddenly using tech, I was like, oh shit, because the Goblin had the glider and all of those guys were like flying, and then he started making flying suits for Peter. So I was like, oh, this guy loves himself a little airborne trip. So I was thinking, oh, this has to be him. And then it was revealed that it was actually Otto Octavius. And I was like, shit, I actually didn't see that coming. Wow. And I was personally really excited because I usually can like predict things, and I didn't. I was wrong. I love being wrong.
I mean, like, same. Like, I honestly thought it was going to be the Tinkerer and the Vulture crew, because, like, you know, Vulture did all that in Spider-Man Homecoming. So I was like, oh yeah, like it's them, like, you know, selling their weapons throughout the city using Chitauri tech. But like it was Doc Ock, and I'm like, holy shit, like I wonder how he's making all these weapons. Like, what energy source are you using? Like, what's going on there?
He's bringing pain to the octagon. I will tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if, because Doc Ock exists in this universe doing this specific thing, if the Vulture and his crew just don't really have a market anymore because like there's already a guy there supplying weapons.
Do you think that the Vulture is just like a normal dad who drives his daughter to the homecoming dance and is totally fine about it?
Hey, Pete.
Hey, Pete, what's up? And like Peter, there's nothing wrong at all. They have a really nice time at the dance. I would love to see that alt version of Michael Keaton.
Yeah. Are we ever going to fully recognize how lucky we are that Michael Keaton decided to play the Vulture in a Spider-Man movie?
So sick. He's the best. I love Michael Keaton.
Well, we are. And next time someone complains about Ben Grimm's forehead, I want them to think about the fact that Michael Keaton signed on to play Adrian Toomes in the third Spider-Man reboot, and just sit down and shut up for a minute. Anyway, we also get introduced to Amadeus Cho. Cho on the big screen or on the small screen.
Wolfgang Amadeus Cho. Let's go, baby.
Amadeus.
Let's make that music. Amadeus.
I feel like, and also like, what a prick. He is. He is a great uber intellectual, but also like chiseled, handsome scientist guy. It's just great. I love that character. I love all the lab scenes because Paul F. Tompkins is voicing that curmudgeonly old professor.
He's so mean.
So mean.
That is like a really.
I'm like, that's Mr. Peanut Butter.
I know. Fuck the nutty professor. He's just the cranky as hell professor.
So like, because this universe seems to be like this weird parallel universe of the MCU, like, do you think that this show establishes the age of the future MCU 616 Amadeus Cho? Because like in previous Marvel stuff, like he has been a little kid in the past. Like he has like appeared a lot younger than he is in this show. So like, do you guys feel like we're gonna get like a more adult or like close to like a teenage Amadeus Cho for like future MCU projects?
I hope so. Maybe. I mean, I think it's a great character, and I think like there's certainly we could use a youth movement, since the youth movement that we had kind of got like blurred, like MT's favorite Hawkeye, Kate Bishop.
Yes,
she's like 30 in real life now. It's like,
it's wild. True. They totally wasted.
She's not a young Avenger anymore. She's like the age that Chris Evans was when he was first Captain America. So
she's an Avenger who pays her own health insurance at this point. Like,
she can rent a car legally.
She can rent a car legally. She can drive it around town. No one's going to stop her.
She's damn near old enough to run for president.
I was going to say she's 5 years away from being able to run for president, and she's only 3 years away from outliving Jesus Christ himself. So
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Literally.
Speaking of which, we want to thank our sponsor, the Catholic Church. No. Have a secret? We're great at keeping them. Use
and your
promo
confessions
code
too. And I just start reading out Tommy's phone number. I won't.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
Dox me.
Dox me. Dox me, daddy.
Dox me, daddy. Step on my throat and dox me. Speaking of doxing, I need to dox a couple podcasts that have sponsored today's episode, you guys. That's right. No rolling dice, no fake ads. We got a real ad, baby. We're real ad rich now. We have two very specific podcasts we want to shout out for sponsoring today's show. First and foremost, the Mostly Pod Out at Night. Mostly. Join hosts Salem and Graveyard as they delve into the underbelly of the horror world and delve into Graveyard's luxurious beard while you're at it. Nobody grooms it better. They recap, review, and deconstruct horror movies, from cult classics to fan favorites to the depths of the low-budget barrel. They wade through it all to find those worthy of your time and those better flushed away into that toilet of doom. The episodes drop weekly and usually revolve around themes, both seasonal and abstract, but always with horror in the front of our pulsating, bleeding minds. And we will, of course, link to that podcast in our ads. And we also want to thank Conversations in the Void. We're joining Graveyard again and his off-screen producer, Salem, for a live interview show that touches on all things horror, interviewing a wide variety of guests, from classic actors to writers to special effects coordinators to hopefully someday me, Tommy Bechtold, who has been killed in 3 straight horror movies, and even the next generation of horror films creators just starting out. Graveyard asks those hard-hitting questions and finds out what they're up to in the present with a healthy dose of history for context. Those who do not acknowledge our history are doomed to repeat it, you know. Join us every Wednesday night for another brand new episode. We will link both of those amazing podcasts in our information below in that area. Thank you to the Mostly Pod Out at Night Mostly podcast and Conversations in the Void for sponsoring today's Guardians of the Palaxy episode.
Thanks, guys.
Damn. And Graveyard sounds like something Tombstone could really get himself into.
That's
true.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Excellent transition. Excellent. Absolutely excellent. 10 out of 10.
There's also a fair amount of new spins on classic characters. We have Dr. Carla Connors, who I believe is a proxy for Kurt Connors. I'm guessing because of the last name and missing arm is where I'm going to.
You know, that's kind of a tell.
Much like in the earlier Marvel movies, Marvel Studios movies, very loving, nurturing relationship to Peter. You know, a kind of a mentoring figure that, again, we know is doomed and careening towards a tragic twist of fate, you know. And so many of these Spider-Man villains, what makes them, in my opinion, so great is they become villains through tragic circumstances, an accident, desperation in the case of like Sandman. And, you know, like he's so desperate that he ends up, you know, he's trying to do right by his daughter and he ends up, you know, becoming this creature made of sand. And like, you know, Kirk Connors to me is always, or Carla Connors in this case, is always one of the more tragic ones, because it's like they're just trying to get better. They're just trying to be well, and whatever their perception of wholeness is, and it just goes so awry. We haven't seen it yet, but I already feel so invested in this Carla Connors character. I'm like, I don't want her to be Lizard, but she will, and I do want her to be Lizard deep down, because I'm a little stinker like that. Deep down, I want her to be Lizard.
Praying for her downfall. How dare you, Tommy?
Again, what if in this universe Vulture's a normal dad? Carla Connors is just a lady. She's totally, she's just like, no, I don't need to become the Lizard. Whoa, she's not a lizard.
She's not a lizard.
Talking about a little gecko. Okay, sorry. I'll stop now.
They're also that strange gang of 4 Russians that, you know, 2 of them obviously become future Spider-Man villains, the Rhino and Chameleon, because of you know, their names. But we also got Mila as the unicorn who breaks her friends out of prison with her fancy new unicorn tech that she got from Doc Ock. And I found her, like, her powers really interesting, because it's just like you're just shooting lasers out of your head specifically. Like, why did he make that? Like, why would Doc Ock make that specific thing? It's
well, and it's a hilarious scene when he's explaining the tech of the helmet, and then he's like, it also shoots lasers on its head.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a car with a completely unnecessary spoiler. Although the lasers are necessary, but it's like, all right, well, if you're not dazzled by the 400 horsepower engine, it also shoots lasers out the front of it. So
those lasers are dangerous too. There was like a large amount of property damage caused in this. They're going to be rebuilding that city for months. There's going to be lasting damage.
You've got butane burning down the wrong buildings.
Oh, fuck. That was so dumb. He went into that pet store and he almost killed all of them. And like, thank God Peter was there, or it would have been another scene that I can't watch, because you know how I feel about the animals.
Dude was such an idiot. He was just like, yeah, I'm burning the right building. It's like, no, you're not, you idiot.
No, you're dumb. They're arsonists, not smartsonists, I guess.
Oh, got him. Roasted, literally. Got him. But I really enjoyed the whole predictive technology in Mila's helmet, because like that is super cool, especially with somebody like Spider-Man who can predict other people's moves with his spider sense. So like seeing that battle, it's like, oh, okay, so like the playing field is now leveled. So like now this is just like a game of like skill rather than like using your predictive powers. So that was really interesting to see. It was also really interesting to see how she went nuts and tried to kill Alexei.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, like, why would you do that, bro? Like, that's your homie. But like, I wonder if like there's something in the actual technology that makes people crazy. I don't know. I
Well,
don't know.
similar
That's
to how
just-
the arms made Doc Ock crazy,
Right.
right? You
Yeah.
know?
Right. I'm loving that the show also continues the trend of Peter just loving the dark skinned girls. I love it. He's just like in
Hell
every
yeah, baby.
universe. He loves himself a black queen. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
All right, hell
like,
yeah,
go
dude.
for it.
Let's go. Ask him to homecoming. See what happens. Have a great
Seriously.
night.
How could you not love Pearl? She's everything. She's a record-setting swimmer. She's a
Yeah.
lunch enthusiast. She's got a car.
Dude,
I mean,
she's got
yes.
a car. She
If I
has
was 16
babysitting money in her wallet.
If I was 16, I'd be diving for pearls every weekend. I'll tell you that much.
That's what Lonnie would be doing if he didn't get caught up in a gang.
If he wasn't too busy
Exactly.
with the 110th Street gang.
God damn it. I felt so bad that he had to miss football practice. That actually made me sad because his coach just talked to him like 2 minutes later. That'd be like if I was texting you guys and I was like, yeah, I'm going to show up to Palaxy in like 5 minutes. Just give me a sec. And then I never showed up.
And then Big Don
Like-
called you and said, Whitney,
Whitney,
why aren't you here?
why aren't you here to get me more burritos?
I told you to go to El Fresco's to get the burritos.
And I'm like, but I had a gift card for Sharky's. And he's like, I don't care. And we get in a fight.
Sharky
That's how that-
seafood is tainted.
And then he
That's
fires
not
me
true.
from the
No.
gang because I'm not good. I'm not good.
I hear
at
that's
that.
what happened. That's what happened to Terrence Howard in between Iron Man 1 and 2. He got a text from Big Don and he had to go, but it ended up being Don Cheadle that texted him. So he had tricked him out of the role. I'm really interested to see like where his story lands, how the gang sort of like gets involved with like, I don't know, whatever chemicals that make Tombstone in the future, because like he has to be enhanced some way. I don't know if he falls into a vat of chemicals. I don't know if he falls into a radioactive tomb. Who knows how he gets his powers in the universe?
I do really think that it's kind of funny though that like with the gangs, it's Disney, so it's not like anyone has a gun. Nobody's selling drugs. Like, what are they doing in this gang
So far,
exactly?
They play
Exactly.
cards and they eat, and little Simon is sitting on the couch like this.
Yeah, the whole time. Like, I'm just like, this is a Disney
Hi,
show, so
Lonnie.
like they're a gang, but like, really, what's the worst?
Lonnie,
that's
I
gonna
made you a
happen?
friendship bracelet.
Yeah, they just sit around making friendship bracelets.
It says 110% best friends.
I like how Big Don got mad when Lonnie was doing his homework. He
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, just don't doing homework. You got to chill and do nothing like the rest
I'm
of
not
us."
running a study hall. I'm running a very casual hangout club for like-minded men. who live in the neighborhood. We're essentially the He-Man woman haters from the Little Rascals.
Yeah, from the Little Rascals, and we don't want you to have the football career that we were initially very impressed by.
Yeah, the thing that drew you to us or drew us to you is
Yeah.
no longer valued by us. It would suck to have a hyper-intellectual football star with access to things we could never dream of having access to. We've got to make you just like us.
We've got to make you just chill in this warehouse 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. day and night, and we're not doing anything. Can we watch Kitchen Nightmares? No, we
Simon
cannot.
was a Boy Scout. He's like, yes, I was.
Yes, I was. On my honor, I will try.
My Eagle Scout project is a gun. No, it's not.
They can't. It's Disney. Like, what are they going to do? Like, it's like they're running weapons. It's like, okay, what are the weapons though, dude? Like,
Yeah.
come on. It's
Slingshot.
Disney.
Sticks and stones.
Yeah.
They're trafficking laser helmets. That's the
right.
big problem here.
You can't,
We
and that's
got to
a big-
get laser helmets off
Honestly,
the streets.
I
They're
heard
too
Mexico
dangerous.
was sending 30,000 troops to the border to stop the flow of laser helmets. Into,
Stop the
into
laser
California.
helmets from coming into this country.
Otherwise, we're going to slap massive tariffs on the Chitauri.
I'm going
real,
to tear up
Tommy,
the
too real.
Chitauri.
I just had a great conversation with the president of Chitauri. He backed down like a dog.
They say that vibranium is the strongest metal in the world. No, it's not. Vibranium is no good. It's nothing like adamantium. Adamantium is actually a very good, very strong, very good metal. I use it at all my hotels.
It's metal. We love metal. It's
We
the
love
best
metal in this country. We
do
love.
metal.
But it's not as strong as coal. We got to keep burning coal.
We got to keep
Gold,
burning the coal.
Beautiful gold.
I went to Wakanda. I said, I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed with the
And
vibranium.
he's a very good friend of mine, probably. But
Did you know
we disagree.
T'Challa? Incredible man.
Me and T'Challa, we hung
Me
out
and
the other
T'Challa.
day, even though he's no longer here.
I call him Chi-Chi. He hates it.
I do want to talk about one big thing about this series is that like it seems like, even though this is not 100% confirmed, but like it seems like the implication might be that the spider might have come from another universe.
Yeah. Well, it came in through the sling ring portal that Doctor Strange when that Venom or that symbiote character came through at the beginning, right?
Exactly.
Oh, cool.
So
I was gonna be like, what if it's like a tie into the Spider-Verse and one of those got through the portal? But no, you guys are probably right.
It could, well, like it really depends on like where Doctor Strange came from. When he was like fighting that weird Venom looking beast. And like either like he was at the edge of the universe, in my opinion, where like, you know, like that Shadow Realm type period where this type world where Null seems to live with his friends, or like, you know, he was just like, I don't know, fighting a random monster somewhere else in New York.
I thought it was like Sabretooth with the symbiote suit because of the frilly neckline. I was like, is this a Sabretooth?
Maybe.
That was just old Tommy 2 books. He's read 2 comic books, and one of them is a Sabretooth Wolverine book. So forgive me, YouTube commenters. You're so brave, and I don't want to upset you.
But no, like if this is a spider from another universe, then like this could technically mean that this whole timeline wasn't meant to happen. And like, you know, that was just like this Peter Parker was just supposed to be a normal Peter Parker and not Spider-Man. So like maybe that could tie into like the narrative of like Beyond the Spider-Verse or whatever happens after Beyond the Spider-Verse. Because like it seems like, you know, this Peter Parker wasn't, he doesn't get the spider bite in a normal traditional way of like, you know, going to a field trip or like, you know, it's just like a very magical way.
Also, that spider is very much alive somewhere, right? Like that spider will live to bite again.
Yeah, nobody squished it.
Like, I wonder if this is a Cindy Moon tease for a Silk series, because she does get bit by the same spider that Peter Parker got bit. I'm really looking forward to seeing what goes on with that. Also, like, this is another weird connection that I made. I don't know if you guys ever played the Spider-Man PS5 games.
Oh yeah,
I have not.
Oh my god, they're so good, Whitney. They're so good. But in that game, it seems like the implication is that like the spider that Norman Osborn made was made using this weird dark science that like he was using with like the symbiote suits. So I'm wondering if this spider and this symbiote monster are sort of tied in that same like, I don't know, darkness realm. And like, I don't know if that's like the root of like the Spider-Man powers is like this weird like dark type stuff. I don't know. But that's just something I was thinking about. I don't know if that makes sense.
I think that's really cool. That would, I mean, like some sort of connection to the symbiote, like the spider and the symbiote suit somehow being related. It kind of draws together like the similarities in the power set that Venom and Spider-Man have had over the years, like, you know, the strength element of it and the like the hyper flexibility and the quick reaction times. I think that's a great connection. Now we are halfway home on these episodes. We've got 5 episodes. We've got 5 episodes yet to go. How are we feeling? What are we hoping for? Where do we think that this show is heading?
Straight to hell. Just
hell yeah.
It's really good. It's really good. And the theme song is really good. I do want a neighbor like him. I really do. Sorry, just to reiterate.
I think that this series is going to culminate with like obviously the creation of the Goblin. It would be interesting if it was Harry, because that would be really, really fun. But like obviously, like, you know, it'd be cool to see Mr. Domingo play a solid Green Goblin as Norman Osborn. But yeah, no, I do want to see like, you know, a big showdown with like Doctor Octopus and like, you know, him being fully realized. But I think it'd be fun to see a black suit Spider-Man at some point. Because, you know, Spider-Man does have this like darker mentor who is like more, I don't know, more like intense than like a Tony Stark would be. So like maybe he encourages Peter to like, yeah, be darker, join the dark side. And then like he gets the symbiote. It's like, all right, let's run experiments on this new suit now. Let's see what's going on here.
Okay, hold on really quick. Did that seem just kind of dumb to anybody else that they were like, let's field test your new Spider-Man suit in front of all of Queens. Let's just get you out there flying around. We have no idea if this is going to work. We have no idea if you know how to use the technology. We're just going to push into the deep end and hope you learn how to swim or float on your back or whatever it is the fuck you crazy kids are doing.
I think it makes more sense if it's revealed that Norman Osborn has always had nefarious intentions throughout the entire, like, that we're not getting the like Willem Dafoe, you know, he's broken by the experiment gone wrong, and that's what fully realizes the Green Goblin in him. If we're getting the Norman Osborn is just an evil dude who figured out who Spider-Man was and decided he was going to harness his power for his own power, and therefore doesn't really care if Peter Parker lives or dies, then all of that makes sense. If it is not that way, then it is a little hokey. That he was just like, yeah, go put this gyrocopter on your back and go buzz around Queens for a bit.
I'm sorry. I was just like, Robert Downey Jr. would literally never. That's why he took him out in like the dark of night to have him test out his Spider-Man suit. And so I'm just like, bro, what are you doing, Norm? What's going on here, Norm? You talk to me, buddy.
It does seem like he's just running experiments using.
You have all the money in the world.
Body.
Take him to a gym. Take him to like one of those trampoline gyms and just set him
you're
free.
telling me Norman Osborn doesn't have a giant field house somewhere that like, you know, Spider-Man could do everything in all those suits. Maybe
you're telling me that Norman Osborn doesn't have an American Ninja Warrior obstacle course?
That's exactly what I was thinking. But also, you know, maybe it's just the good old fashioned show don't tell storytelling where they're like, let's show that. Anyway, we got to get out of here. We all have very busy, successful, rich personal lives beyond this Galaxy hangout. But I mean, I'm definitely not going home to make protein pasta and put butter on it and have butter noodles.
I'm definitely not going to take a nap right after this because I've been awake since 5 a.m. That's not happening. No,
I'm going to go on the apps and match with 100 babes and go on 100 dates.
Oh, fuck yeah. Match with all those babes, bro.
The night is young.
The night is young. I'm liking sun.
All right, pals, you heard him. The night is young. We like it, son. Be good to each other. Take care of your pals. Love your pals. Check in on your pals, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Flip, flip.